Hey guys, and welcome to Rooted Convos with me, Josie. Say it's Women's History Month, right? That's March. Like, I absolutely love the fact that it's Black History Month and it's Women's History Month. Anywho's, what I wanted to talk about today is a topic very near and dear to my heart, but something that to me is a little bit of a hidden history. I know I love my hidden histories at this point. So, I want to talk about the impact of women of color in herbalism. All right, so use my little furry pillow if you feel a little distracted. It's a very downcast day, and I've been, just trying to find little cozy ways to be cozy. Anyway, so women of color and herbalism, what I mean specifically, excuse me, would be Native American women and Black women. So when I say Black women, because I know some of us don't like to use that term, I say it in that way because all of us are not African American. Some women who practice herbalism or do the work of herbalism are from the islands. Some of them are in other countries, and we all have similar roots. So when you hear me use the term Black, it's not to like demean or anything like that. It's literally just me trying to put a cap on everyone who's included, everyone in the diaspora who's included. So anyway, back to subject. Now that I have that little tidbit out the way, Native Americans and Africans really changed the game when it came to the way the rest of the world saw herbalism. Now, let's get some history in there. Between the 17th and 19th century, around those time periods, is really where you saw their large impact on the work. So we all know about slavery. We know about slavery in America. So when Europeans came over here and they started learning about the land and things like that, of course they had, and it's like, everybody, I want to throw that out there, that you can find different styles or different traditions of herbalism, according to regions and stuff like that. So when they came over here, they had their own way of doing herbalism. However, Native Americans, and when they started bringing Africans here to enslave them, they had two distinct things of how they use plants that made them different from how Europeans turned, white Americans use plants. And so those two things is, one, they introduced spirituality. Now that shouldn't really be a surprise, because I'm not saying other people are not spiritual, so let me just throw that out there. What I am saying is that you see strong spiritual influences in those two cultures in particular. I say this but I say this specifically, there we go, because I have Native American roots. I know only 3% of Black people in America only have Native American roots, but I'm one of the 3%. And I have, of course, African heritage. So those facts mean something to me personally. But Native Americans always have had like this certain reverence and respect for, land. They didn't see, and they still don't see, land and plants and animals the same way Western society does. Like, there's a level of reverence. Like, you don't just go and pick flowers and stuff. Like, you realize that those things are living just like you're living, and you approach those things with a level of respect. And outside of that, like, they have spiritual practices that are included in their medicinal practices, even to this day. Same thing with African culture. And that's why I said when it comes to Black people in general, you'll see a level of spirituality in herbalism. Some people practice ancestral religion within, or beliefs more so, these days, because of the reconnecting of what our ancestors used to do. And so when the enslaved Africans were brought here, they included their spiritual practices still with the new plants that they were introduced to. It's no secret, like I mentioned in the witch hazel video. If you haven't watched that, go reference that as well. The Native Americans and the Africans, they merged knowledge. So the Native Americans really did take some time, some of them did, to teach the enslaved Africans how, what was available to them, the land, and how it worked. So there was an exchanging of knowledge. I truly believe it's because they saw similarities in how they operated. I don't think it's just all because, I'm sure a large part of it is because they probably didn't like the other people who were here, but I think also they saw similarities on how they approached plant medicine. And I know people will say don't say remedies and plant medicine, but to them that's what that was. So I'm going to keep it in context of that. So when it came to spirituality, that was introduced to herbalism over here. The second thing, which to me herbalism itself thrives on, is the holistic approach. That is the same approach I use when it comes to herbalism, especially because I'm huge on mental health. A lot of people think holistic means healthy or whatever. No, it means the total person. It means the whole individual. So when Native Americans and Africans use plants to help someone in their journey of healing, it was not used like, okay, chamomile and valerian root, they go together and they have similar properties, so bam, here's a tea. They looked at the whole picture of a person. They looked at your mind, your emotions. They looked at your physicality. They looked at the little nuances of you as a person. They looked at your daily life. They looked at to see if things around you changed and what happened. It wasn't just like, oh, I have a sniffle, so here's this. They assessed the whole individual, even down to the spirit, to figure out what did you need. And that's how they decided or discerned what you needed and offered the solution that way. And they brought that. And to me, that is a game changer that needs to be said, because a lot of herbal schools and a lot of herbal courses not taught by people of color tend to not share that contribution to the history of herbalism. And it's due their credit of incorporating that and introducing that to people who were not utilizing that. So even though people are capitalizing off that now, those roots are personal to me because it's literally part of lineages that I'm from. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand that holistic approach, they helped bring that to the game, and it changed it forever because we still function in that way. We still look at the same, at people holistically as a whole person in every aspect of their lives. Now, where women specifically come in, if you go to any herbalist space, or even if you look up an herbalist, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a woman. I personally believe herbalists usually are called, or women are called to be herbalists because we're nurturers, and we tend to be, to me, more discerning. To others they call it intuitive than maybe what a man would be, because men are so super logical, whereas women, we are more fluid and feeling. So when it came the time period where white people told like enslaved Africans or others like you guys, it became illegal to practice herbalism, when they told them they were no longer able to do herbalism because now they had taken their practices and learned their plant knowledge and used it for themselves. You had what you call grannies, or women within like the plantations or in the area that they would call on. Even post-slavery, they had Black women that they would call on to come help heal their families or help create remedies to help their families. And that was really the only way that we were able to function. I could go on for days about that, and people who are midwives, they understand too. If you look into the field of herbalism now, there's not a lot of indigenous people that you would like to see, and there's definitely not a lot of Black people because we were barred from that. And so when you see a Black herbalist, not just me, but if you see a Black herbalist, you see an indigenous herbalist, you see a herbalist of color, you make sure you applaud her, because we're reinstating something that was stripped away. We're taking back something that was lost to us, something that has always been a part of our communities. We're bringing it back to our communities, and we're restoring a narrative of women before us, and instilling their voices back in a way that they weren't able to do. So if you guys learned something new, of course, let me know. If you knew something that you can add while I was talking, drop that in the comments, because I am here to learn too. I'm a life student. And of course, share it with someone that could benefit from this knowledge. And most of all, make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for those of you guys who do subscribe, who do share my videos, who do comment. I really appreciate it. And so I'll see you guys next time on the next Rooted Convo, and we'll see what we're going to delve in next. All right, see you guys soon.